As fall approaches, many young men return home to reunite with their families, making this a peak time for active matchmaking and marriage discussions. However, exorbitant dowry requirements make marriage unattainable for many men. In modern China, the dowry remains an integral part of marriage customs. It is a gift from the groom's family to the bride's family. In recent years, due to a serious imbalance in the sex ratio among young people, with more men than women, this has led to excessively high standards for brides and a sharp rise in dowry prices. Interestingly, poorer rural areas in China often demand a higher dowry for marriage. For example, in some of the poorest areas of Gansu, dowries can reach around 300,000 yuan. Similar high dowries are common in Shandong, Heilongjiang, Liaoning, and Jiangxi. Combined with the cost of a house and car, usually provided by the groom, the total cost of marriage can reach 1 million or even several million yuan. As a result, many young men from poor families remain single, and those who try to marry find themselves in significant debt, plunging them back into poverty. Many criticize the practice as akin to selling daughters. The phenomenon of exorbitant dowries is attributed to poverty and competition, with families hoping to improve their living conditions through daughters' marriages, especially in families with sons. Parents demand high dowries for their daughters in order to finance their sons' future weddings. This resembles a form of transactional exchange. This situation has led to many tragic stories. For example, a 15-year-old girl from Shaanxi province was forced into marriage for dowry money because of her family's poverty. In another case, a video on social media showed a girl in pajamas being forcibly taken away from her boyfriend's house because he could not afford a dowry of 500,000 yuan. High dowries have also led to banks trying to capitalize on the business opportunity. Zhujiang Bank in Jiangxi Province even planned to introduce a dowry loan, but dropped the idea after public criticism. The government is trying to regulate high dowries by issuing customary reform documents and setting limits on dowry amounts. However, this is unlikely to solve the problem of difficulties in marrying rural young men. The main reason is that in areas where dowry prices remain high, there is usually a severe shortage of suitable women. This is due to the imbalance in the sex ratio at birth and the exodus of rural women to urban areas. Some experts suggest that the best way to fundamentally change the problem of high dowries and the difficulty for rural men to find wives is to reform rural land ownership. If people had even partial ownership rights to rural land, the wealth gap between rural and urban areas would rapidly narrow and the competitiveness of rural men would increase dramatically. In addition, reforming the household registration system, breaking down the urban-rural divide, increasing population mobility between urban and rural areas, and improving rural infrastructure and public services could alleviate the outflow of rural women, thereby easing the contradiction between supply and demand in the marriage market. However, these measures are complex and independent, and the CCP may be reluctant to change such a deeply entrenched social structure. Therefore, as long as the CCP rules, the dual urban-rural structure in China is unlikely to change, and the problem of high dowries in rural areas will persist, leading to more bachelors in rural China. Thank you for watching this video about the complex dowry situation in modern China. If you enjoyed the content, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel for further interesting content on culture and society of different countries. We wish you to find happiness in a relationship based on love and mutual respect rather than material demands.